Guys like you are the reason guys like me can't get laid.
Oh, that's right. When you got problems, just blame it on everybody else.
That's not my problem. It's yours.
Hello, friends, and welcome back to ReddX, your source for the freshest daily cringe content anywhere on the internet. Promise swearsies, it's just a fact, and it's totally science. Go ahead and look it up. Today, we're doing some more NeckbeardStories top posts of all time, because why not, you know? Gotta catch them all. A miner and a neckbeard walk into a bookstore at 10 p.m. Then the police officer says, you can't take your bookworm out, there are kids in here. Is that the punchline? OP says, after finding this subreddit, I am elated to finally have somewhat of vent about my many creepy male encounters. I'm a pretty huge geek, shy, was deeply into anime, and am small, petite, half Asian, and a chronically ill damsel to boot, so I'm pretty much prime neckbeard and nice guy bait. Good old beard bait. I don't know what chronically ill damsel is supposed to mean. I guess it's just a result of so much white knighterry. A few nights ago, I and my dad, I'm underage and can't drive alone yet, plus we're really close, decided to go on a late night shopping trip. Me for art supplies and some Japanese snacks from Daiso. They remind me of trips back home, and him for a new D&D manual. So we get our art supplies and Daiso snacks and head to the bookstore. Honestly, so glad for father figure. It always comes in clutch. Shout out good dads. Walking in, I spot this overweight, wider than he is tall, scruffy, neck-bearded man wandering the store. Let's call him Bookbeard. Bookbeard was 400 odd pounds. Ginger, and both his hair and beard were the same close shaved length. The hair and the beard the same length must look so weird. It's not completely bald, he just wants to look like Orange Wolfman. So he watches me attentively as I walked in, but considering I have the fashion sense of a half-blind Asian 2000s Disney movie goth, I wasn't really perturbed. People stare a lot. Half-blind Asian in a Disney movie? I don't think they had that kind of representation in the 2000s, OP. But I take your meaning. I'm really on one today, dude. I'm not really surprised to see someone like him, because you gotta be kinda weird to spend a late Saturday night at the bookstore. And I just hope to God that he is your average, sensible geek as I proceed to goof off with my dad. Wholesome moments. Somehow this neckbeard is gonna ruin it. I know. I'm just bracing for impact. The store is almost empty, so we joke loudly about your standard geeky subjects. Star Trek, Star Wars, D&D, Lord of the Rings, etc. At this point, I forget about the possible neckbeard that I'd seen before because we were having so much fun. So I proceeded to make some very loud jokes about some raunchy mangas that they had on the shelves. And my dad jokingly told me to cut it out or he'd have to tell my mom. We then separated because he wanted to look at some military history books, and I was still busy poking fun at the scantily dressed heroines on the comic and manga covers. Yeah, this is like a case of a kid exploring their sexuality, and the dad's like, I gotta get the hell out of here. And of course, they can't just be left to explore in a safe environment. Now the dad's out, I'm sure the neckbeard's gonna swoop in. And I already hate it! Suddenly, I'm ogling the terrible costume design of a half-naked demoness on the cover of an old vintage horror comic behind some glass, when I am greeted by an offending smell. Like one too many bottles of Axe and much too few bathing sessions. Hey, I heard you talking about that raunchy manga. His voice is so breathy. I didn't even realize at first that he was talking. Yes, he's fat, his lungs are compressed. I'm a little taken aback, but I'm pretty friendly and a forgiving person, so I reply nicely, yeah, I was. Why? I heard how he treated you for talking about what you like. I wouldn't do that. Oh, God, dude. Skin is crawling off body. Grooming is happening right here in the D&D shop. No, sir! Out back, against the wall!
You leave that child alone.
At this point, the warning bells really went off. I don't like raunchy anything. It's just a running gag I have with my dad about lonely male artists. Oh, that's kind of funny, actually. And the way that the Neckbeard said,
I wouldn't do that,
freaked me out on so many levels. I am a sheltered 16-year-old private school student, and the way that he was just looking at me made me want to bathe in holy water. I don't know if it's gonna be enough to keep him back. Might gotta add some soap in there. He apparently mistook my silence as an invitation to keep talking and started blathering again.
You know, I just don't know why all you cute Asian girls go after such old, cruel men. I would treat you like the Oriental princess you are.
There it is. That's good cringe. Oriental princess. He really thinks that the dad is the boyfriend? He just can't imagine a world where dads spend time with their daughters? I mean, obviously he grew up in a world where daddy didn't spend enough time with him, so I don't know. All I can really say is I hate it. OP does too. At this point, I'm screaming in my head. Not only is he hitting on a minor, he thinks that I'm banging my dad. Unfortunately, this happens a lot more than I'd like. My dad is white, and I look more like my Asian mom, so I laugh awkwardly and correct him. He's my dad. Neckbeard scoffs and sighs.
Oh, you're into that.
Oh, like not sugar dad, just father. He's the man who bangs my mom. I gotta get out of here.
You know, just money isn't everything. I would pay for everything you wanted and let you explore what you enjoy.
I don't know if I can continue on. This is horrible. The way he said explore and enjoy made me want to spend the rest of my life in a Goram monastery. Holy God, he was so freaking creepy. Not to mention that he was totally missing the point. Just disengage. There's no way to bring this back. Run to your father's side and let him fend off the Neckbeard. Dads know what to do. Karate chop him in the throat.
Huh? I didn't hear what you said. Huh?
OP says, no. I mean, he's my actual dad. He looked downright disgusted and offended, as if I had somehow betrayed him with my behavior.
You talk to your father like that? I thought you Asian women were more conservative.
I guess that's true if they were born in Asia, but this guy can't afford to leave the country because he spends all his money on Gundam figurines. I bet he doesn't even have like an apartment to go home to. He just sleeps outside the shop when it closes. That's what he smells like at the least. At this point, OP groans again, internally. Yeah, me and my dad have some weird, dark jokes, but it's usually because we have a great time embarrassing each other in public, and we're chill. I hadn't even said anything overtly sexual. I just joked about how big the cover girls' honker-donkers were. Something dumb and flippant like, man, check out those honkers. I guess this time it came back to bite me in the ass for taking the joke too far. I mean, maybe, but where's your dad? I'm surprised he's not at least keeping an eye out. Can't he hear this exchange going on? I walk around with my daughter, I'm watching her like a hawk. You don't have to make it obvious. You can do it from across the room, but just know what goes on. I hadn't even said the name of the manga when I picked it up to joke about it. So this guy must have been watching us while I said it. Yeah, he ain't got nothing better to do. Thankfully, at this point, my dad's fatherly instincts kick in. Yes! MVP! Take him out back, for real, for great justice. Dad jumps between us, a surprising feat, considering I was backed against a bookcase and Bookbeard was gradually closing the space between us, and he shoved a BTS photo book of the Hobbit saga into my hands. Good save. Neckbeard is too cowardly to engage. He will crawl back to his den, and the day is saved. Dad says,
Hey, OP, check this out. It's on sale.
Now, my dad is a veteran and ex-pro boxer, almost 6 foot and broad as a boar, and he's smiling the fatherly smile of death at a poor 5-ish foot Bookbeard, who suddenly seems much more afraid than offended as my dad borderline body checks him away from me. Dude, I love that. I wish he just would have fallen to the floor, knocked over a bunch of shelves. I'm gonna imagine that's what happened. He ran crying from the shop and was never heard from again, and then everybody got up and clapped. I feel like as long as we can acknowledge it didn't actually happen, then it can still be part of the headcanon. It's just more dramatic this way.
Why don't we just get this one book?
My dad stated loudly, making a point of intentionally shouldering past Bookbeard as he guides me to the tills. Bookbeard looks absolutely bewildered at this point, as his fatty body bounces off my dad's much more solid frame and proceeds to stare at us silently with unbridled rage and annoyance as we check out and leave. Thus concludes this weekend's creep encounter. Stay safe, y'all. Use the buddy system when you're out late, even if it is your aged but vivaciously defensive veteran father. Smiley face. I knew Dad would come in clutch. This is what dads do. I see through you, boy. I know your intentions. You want a yes from me? You're gonna have to impress the hell out of everybody in this house. I could read 1,000 dad rescue stories like this, but instead we got whatever is in this next post. Creepy ass man neckbeard that I dated for 2 months. What is this fascination with the poo-poo? Can we stop it? OP says, I'm on mobile, so this might be a little rambly. When I was around 19 or 20, I joined my first dating site. Yeah, that's a great time in your life to make mistakes, isn't it? I met someone on there. Let's call him D. Oh, what's that stand for? He messaged me first, asking about my interests. We met up for coffee eventually. At first, he genuinely seemed like a down-to-earth, geeky guy, who seemed sweet at first. He did meet the physical criteria, thinning hair, patchy beard, complained about his weight even though he made no effort to change it, not into anime but video games and tabletop RPGs, played Second Life and always bragged about the girl that played with him on there that I flirt with her all the time. I will point out as well that I was still in this naive age where I thought you were obligated to give a guy a chance just because he compliments you. I had also been single for a while. Dude, that's a whole lot of stuff to unpack. I think the most pertinent point is him flirting with a chick online and rubbing it in your face. Massive disrespect, but he doesn't respect himself either, obviously, so what can I really expect? So, as this thing progressed with D, he immediately referred to me as his girlfriend. So I just took this as a sign that he was super into me. He introduced me to his friends and interests right away. There was something weird about his compliments though, which I have noticed more and more with a lot of neckbeards. When I say weird, I mean very obviously fetishized. Yeah, we talked a little bit about a short stack in the Tinder video yesterday, didn't we? I look a little more alternative, as much as this term annoys me, but he would say things like, hey, you're my freaky little girl. Can we not? Oh, dying. I feel like this made him assume that I was into a lot of freaky or kinky stuff because after the first time we kissed, he immediately started asking me about all these intimate acts he wanted to try and if I did them. How are you not running away screaming into the night? He flat out asked me, really giddily, if I would put it in the pooper. This had to be like on our third date.
What? No.
Oh my God. When it's time for you to ask that, you'll know, okay? Third date is not the time. I hate everything about this. This episode is so good. It's got some deep cringe. So when it came down to getting intimate, he admitted that he was a virgin. I wasn't, but I thought to myself that maybe it could be fun. I could initiate some of the action. No, don't do this, OP. He is gonna attach himself to your leg. You're gonna get this boy sprung. He's never gonna leave you alone. OP says, oh boy, was I wrong about my presumptions. He would immediately complain about rubbers and insist that he could coo with one on. Like, how the hell would you know that? You've never even done this before. I mean, I think most young boys unroll one and try it out, just to see how it works, what's supposed to happen. But she's clearly stated a line in the sand, and that needs to be respected. Or else back out of this. You think it might be fun? It's not going to be fun. He made jokes all the time about how adult videos have ruined me. My friends have totally turned me off of rubbers. Yeah, not really a great argument. You want this to happen? You're going to run down to the store and buy some, okay? Or you're going to get out of my house and leave forever. OP says, yeah, that just makes me feel terrific, bud. I'm the only thing in the world that doesn't turn you on. He was just the definition of someone whose entire view of women and doing it came from those internet videos. Far too common in society, but I'll get off my soapbox. I tried to be understanding and help him along the way, but I was also getting frustrated. He was so desensitized to actual that it wasn't funny. No, it's not funny. I already told you. You thought this is going to be fun. It's definitely not. Other cringy things he said or did. He had such a narrowed and weird obsession with butts. Always had to excitedly exclaim, I love butts, if the subject came up.
I like big butts and I cannot lie.
Is he mentally suspended in some way? I feel like the bad guy for asking, but I really feel like I should ask. Is this Iowa Beard? We did a reading of the Iowa Beard saga. I was wondering what he was up to. OP says this dude also never frickin' let up about the butt thing, even though I said I didn't want to. I'm not against the act by any means. It just wasn't my thing, personally. Plus, I especially don't want to do it if I'm being pressured. Yeah, and honestly, unless you're doing a real deep cleaning, your whole bedroom's gonna smell like poop. You don't want this. You think you want this, but you don't want this. It's gross, nasty.
Ew, I like them.
OP says, I'm a visibly tattooed woman. One day he made this stupid joke about how, my buddy shared a post that said, why do women not like it in the butt, but they got piercings and tattoos? Yeah, your buddy shared a post. Imagine this guy with friends. OP says, like, okay, first of all, that is a really stupid comparison. Second of all, that totally wasn't a jab at me because I have tattoos. Ugh, the look on my face must have said it all. Staring daggers. I love that. You should have said, show me the meme. Show me, prove to me that these thoughts are not coming out of your head. And you're just framing it that way for funsies, to save yourself the embarrassment of actually coming out and saying it like a man. To be clear, it's an awful trash take, but at least I can respect the straightforwardness, right? OP says, I'm a positive person, so I mentioned something about adult videos one day. He saw this as an opportunity. Gross. An opportunity to show me some video about this woman that got picked up by a male actor who forced her into a Nelson position. I know they're actors, but that's basically depicting violence, and he thought it was funny. Really are some sick people in the world, isn't there? Like, yeah, you paid and stuff, but at least make it a respectful, like, good experience. Are you not hoping that actress will come back? Just turn her out and throw her away? Sad. Sad. But again, I digress. OP says, my name is Chloe. His nickname for me was Chloe Butt. Like, that's not even clever. Usually when you think of a nickname for someone, there's some sort of inside joke or pun that goes with it. That's just smashing two words together. It annoyed me so much, but he kept saying it. See what I mean about the unhealthy obsession with Nah, for real, Sigmund Freud would have something to say about this. There's a whole lot here, and I don't think I'm fully equipped to identify what it is, but it looks and smells terrible, and I don't think I want anything to do with it. OP says, the real kicker in all of this is that he dumped me. Oof. At least you held your line. I'll say that for you, OP. I guarantee he'll regret it. A decade down the road, he'll be like, she was really nice to me. We only broke up because I didn't get to put it in her butt. You sad, vapid little man. His reasoning, at least to OP, was that, quote, you spend way too much time with your family. Well, I still lived at home, and I'm an only child. It just sort of works that way, so sorry. I think he was just trying to get laid, honestly. We did have one brief, intimate encounter. He ended it shortly after. That's the end of my long rant. Sorry about the length, but I hope you guys found it entertaining. Have a good day and stay safe from a once young and stupid girl with a butt. The ending. You're killing me, OP. Oh, that's funny. I'm sorry you had to go through this experience, this situation. It seems like he got what he wanted out of it and then just left you the hell alone, which I suppose is the merciful thing. I don't know how you stuck it out for 2 months. Patience of a saint, I do suppose. But good on you for getting out. That's what I'm gonna say. Speaking of getting up and out, let's get up and out to our next story. Kyle's evolution. Oh yeah, Kyle. He drinks monsters and punch holes in the drywall. I know about that guy. Kyle was both a neckbeard and a weeaboo. He was tall, at 6'4", and about 250 pounds. Overweight. Yeah, sort of, a little bit. Not for America. He had the traditional neckbeard scruff, and yeah, he fedora'd. As a verb, I love it. He was also a weeaboo. He was a president of his high school's Japanese club, owned a bokken, and would play a ton of Japanese games. Yeah, them JRPGs are good for hundreds of hours. For when you need to waste your life, but you're not quite sure how. I knew Kyle pretty well. He and I hung out a lot. He never had too many friends, and I was the one hanging out with him almost every day. Kyle had all sorts of cringeworthy moments. He would practice martial arts movements in the house, the Narutard kind. He loved to go on about the beauty of Japan and how he wished we were all more Japanese. He practically stalked this one Asian girl claiming true love. Yeah, this definitely seems like textbook neckbeard stuff. I want to know about the Naruto moves that he was doing. Is the jutsu with the hands? He doesn't seem to have the mobility for much else. He would make misogynistic posts on Facebook about how dating girls is like paying a prostitute, except with flowers and candy instead of money, or how all girls were just and I am quoting here. Sounds like a whole lot of cope to me, Kyle. Kyle didn't have very many close friends. Imagine that. He was shy, yet argumentative, loud, yet unconfident. He somehow managed to mangle up every social interaction. Yeah, he's just overcompensating. He doesn't feel confident inside. He's like, maybe if I'm loud, I'll trick people. But no, we could all tell. We could all tell, Kyle. And of course, Kyle was never wrong. No matter what you were arguing, you were incorrect. He got bullied a lot because of his lack of tact. And interestingly, he never learned. Kyle had a pretty bad family situation. His mom and dad were divorced when he decided to live with his dad 400 miles away. His mom stopped speaking to him for 6 months. He was only 15. And caught up in the middle of parents' drama, that's not good. You see, there is a deeper reason that he's falling apart. Kyle's family was traditional Roman Catholic, and they expected him to be that as well. He tried very hard, but he was atheist to the core. So euphoric. I learned from him much later on that he almost committed suicide many times because of this. He felt alone, unaccepted by his family and peers. There were very few people close to him, me being one of them. Now you're making me feel kind of bad for him, honestly. But pity doesn't take it the whole nine. Like, if he's making steps for self-improvement, then you get a bit of my sympathy. But he doesn't seem interested in any of that, at least not yet. I presume he's still pretty young throughout these events. Kyle did eventually get better. Good. He learned how to dress and treat women correctly. He made friends. He became a cameraman in LA. He isn't a weeb anymore. And a lot of people say that he should be a male model. Yeah, look at Kyle with the glow up. Now I don't gotta feel bad. He's getting it all figured out. He has a nice girlfriend and friends and takes showers daily. His beard even looks well-groomed now. See, it's just that awkward teenage phase. We all go through it. I'm so proud of this kid. I never doubted this would happen, of course. I knew that Kyle would be successful. And why is that, you ask? Because he really did care about people. He just didn't know how to show it. He just needed the right feedback and something that made him happy. God, this is a feel-good story, isn't it? It's doing my heart so well. I'm Kyle's little half-sister, by the way. When I moved with his dad and my mom 400 miles away, he came with us because he wanted to make sure that I was okay living in a new place. He really just uprooted his whole life. That's commitment. It might be a little bit weird. It's also pretty sweet too. I'm not sure how I feel about that specifically. Kyle has always been very protective of me. When I was really little, this dog came after me, trying to attack me. I was scared and could have been hurt, but Kyle appeared out of nowhere, picked me up, and he ran until we were safe. He risked himself to keep me safe. That's big brother vibes right there. He is a good boy. He just had a tough time. I can't judge him too harshly for that. We would spend every day together, him playing a video game and me sitting on the couch next to him. I was never lonely because Kyle was there. My parents would yell at us and we would go hide together. He would drive me to school and we would sing Queen at the top of our lungs. What a vibe. This is a lovely sibling relationship, I gotta say. I love my brother. He's the best person in my life. He's the only one who's ever given me any sympathy and truly helped me to understand that there are good people in this world. We are the best of friends. And that's how it should be with siblings, you know? Little bit of sibling rivalry, but at the end of the day, you got each other's backs. I love to see it. So yes, don't judge a neckbeard immediately when you meet them. They're still people too. They want acceptance, just like us. They go through pain, just like us. Underneath the fedora and past the Dorito breath, you might just find one of the best people in your life. Nailed it down, OP, and that is one of the exact reasons that I do extend quite a large benefit of the doubt to most neckbeards. Unless they do something absolutely heinous. It doesn't seem like Kyle did. He's just a weird kid trying to get it figured out. Sort of just like the rest of us, right? And now let's move on into yet another story.
Guys like you are the reason guys like me can't get laid.
Oh, that's right. When you got problems, just blame it on everybody else. Surely it's just the world that's out to get you. Pathetic. All right, so just for reference, I used to post here under my old profile, but I've since begun using this one. I searched for my old stories, but they were deleted along with my profile. Oh, let's do this. I didn't need any of that. And now this user has also deleted themselves. You just make a habit of that. The posts on the new account's gonna be like, I got 2 profiles I deleted, but I don't know what happened to them. Yeah, awesome. Totally relevant. So this was several years ago. The winter of 2013, I do believe. Anyway, I was working at a retail outlet that's known for their toys and giraffe mascot. Are they still around? I heard Toys R Us survived, sort of. I'd really like to go back in there, but then I just look like a big weirdo, you know? I had a coworker who we will call Jay. Jay was slim, with acne, greasy hair, poor dental care, and just all around weird. No literal neckbeard, but internally, yes, definitely. And it's the beard on the inside that counts after all. Hey, check out the Teespring. I'm probably going to take my Teespring down eventually, but check out another merch link in the description. One day, my boss calls Jay and myself over to introduce us to Jenna, not her actual name. Jenna was a new hire. Jenna was petite and feminine and conventionally attractive. She was also very bubbly and friendly. Well, you know Jay's gonna take this one too far. All she had to do is treat him like a human being and he glommed onto her. My boss asks,
OP, can you train Jenna and show her the different parts of the store?
Sure, I reply.
Wait, why does he get to? I want to. Let me train her.
Look, we're trying to actually retain this employee, and everybody knows that you're kind of a creep. My boss ignores these pleas, as he should, and I go off with Jenna to train her / show her the store. Later that week, I'd been fairly social with Jenna during her training period, so we exchanged contact info. Of course, Jay asked me
if I had nailed her yet.
Yeah, you want to see pictures? And then he'd seethe and mauled until he just collapses into a pile of goo. I told Jay, in no uncertain terms, that using that kind of language was beyond inappropriate. He then says, and I quote,
give me her phone number.
I told him to piss off and that I wasn't about to violate someone's privacy and trust. He goes,
screw you. Guys like you are the reason guys like me can't get laid.
That's not my problem. It's yours.
I burst out laughing and walked away. Yeah, that would have been the clincher. You give him the phone number, that's all he needed. He's in like Flynn. Even if he did get, all he would do is fumble the bag. Nobody wants to interact with this dude. The next day I walked into work and boss is ripping the freshest and newest a-hole that one could possibly acquire through words alone. I heard phrases such as,
that is beyond inappropriate. What you did was just sick. Don't you ever show up here again. Get the hell out of here, you little You're fired.
Turns out Jay had somehow gotten Jenna's number and began incessantly texting her lurid and disgusting things. She reported him, and he got canned. Well, darn. Somehow this is still OP's fault, I'm sure. Sounds like a Chad tier manager. Let's be honest, Jay wasn't providing much around the store except for like some weird guy aura. And interestingly, that doesn't help sell the thing that they're trying to sell. Whatever it is. Toys mostly, I guess. Yeah, whatever. We'll move on into the next story. Just keep it rolling.
Milady shouldn't work.
That sounds like a pretty sweet deal. Are you going to be providing at the standard that I'm used to?
Probably not.
Hello, everyone. First time poster here. For context to this story, I work as a teacher's assistant at a kindergarten for one of my mother's friends. I'm 5'2" and visibly 16, but that isn't quite central to this story. Oh, we got neckbeards wandering into the kindergarten now? What exactly is the reasoning for that? Pretty sus. Last week I was organizing with the summer school program that my school does, mostly grading coloring sheets and organizing lessons while my boss taught the kids. My boss worked in the center of the classroom while I worked near the door, so I was in charge of signing out the kids when their parents and guardians came to pick them up. This one kid, let's call him Jeff, was always bragging about his older brother. Jeff always talked about how cool his older brother was. He had tons of action figures and video games. And to me, well, I just thought that was cute. And it might be. Nerdy things can be cute. But when you let it take over your whole life, well, it stops being cute. Jeff's parents called my boss to tell her that his brother would be picking him up that day. So the teacher came and gave me the rundown on what was happening. To avoid people who aren't the parents or authorized people picking the children up, we have a special word that each parent gives us, like a password, that anyone who isn't them has to tell us. She reminds me of Jeff's word, pineapple, and walks off to start the day. And I start tracing out materials for the next activity and doing my various chores for the day. All right, business as usual so far. Toward the end of the day, while taking out the trash, I see a guy hanging out in the parking lot in an old beat-up Jeep. The windows are crappily tinted, so I can't see who's inside, but I am trained to spot unusual people to protect both myself and the kids. So I take a note of the plate and where he's parked before I go back inside. When the day ends, Jeff is bouncing off the walls, excited for his older brother to come. And then enter the older brother. The denizen of the Jeep, the Lord of Cringe, if you will. The door opens and in lumbers the most Neckbeard-esque man I have ever seen in my life. Just waddling his way through the door. He had a full-on scraggly neckbeard that disturbingly resembled pubes, a fedora, khaki shorts, and, I kid you not, a My Little Pony shirt. Always with the bronies, every single time. I've been told hashtag not all bronies, but I don't know, man. I'm just looking at the evidence here. I freeze up, and my boss and I make eye contact. She distracts the kids while I put on my best "I'm totally a professional" face, and this specimen of a man waddles right up to me. Oh my god, he's a disaster. I'm trying not to judge a book by its cover, but he's gonna try and pick up his little brother's teacher while he's presumably still living at home with his parents. It's not gonna go well. It's not gonna go well. I say hello, ask him if he's there to pick up a child, and pray for him not to be some kind of creepy pedo just here to look at the kids. Sounds unlikely, but we've had it before. That is terrifying, OP. I hate that. So this absolute beardo tips his goddamn fedora at me, and I could instantaneously feel all of my neckbeard dreams and nightmares come true. You have neckbeard dreams? Me too, honestly. The dream mostly consists of getting another saga like Chris Trucker. The neckbeard smiles at me and says,
"I'm here to pick up my brother Jeff, m'lady."
Cool, great, not necessary. At this point, I don't know whether to laugh or cry because there's no way I'm letting that poor kid go home with that guy. I smile and ask, "What's the magic word?" and pray that he doesn't know it so I can just kick his ass out of the room. But he smiles back and says,
"Pineapple for Jeff, but for you, it's please."
Oh my god. Yep, I'm dying inside. That's the sound of me dying inside. How I didn't vomit on the spot, I have no idea. So I hand Ponybeard the sign-out sheet, and he signs for Jeff, and before I can go get Jeff, Ponybeard grabs my hand when I take the clipboard back, and he looks at me with the most disgusting sincerity I've ever seen and said,
"My lady shouldn't have to work. A woman of your fine caliber should be at home, being treated like a queen."
Yes, a queen who scrubs the poo-poo stains out of my drawers. I don't think that anyone is ever going to fall for this. I withdraw my hand as quickly as I can and thank him through gritted teeth before I stand up and get Jeff, who runs into this guy's arm like he's Jesus incarnate. Little kids, they don't know. Jeff's gonna get a little bit older and be like, "Oh, my brother's been a loser this whole time." It also really pains me that you had to thank him for that type of treatment. Ugh! Don't say thanks, say gross. Now this is the point where most people just take their child and leave, but not Ponybeard. He sits, still holding Jeff, on the edge of the table that I'm working on, and I just try my best to ignore him. He asks me if I play any video games, and Jeff blurts out that I play Fallout and Pokemon, and at this point I am ready to bash my head straight into that table. It's an easy exit, honestly. Make yourself unconscious, he'll get the message and leave. Probably. Something significantly more terrible might happen too. Matter of fact, don't make yourself unconscious. That's a bad idea. Ponybeard's eyes light up, and I could feel my soul start to leave my body as he asks me
if I like anime.
I politely say no, and he says,
"It's such a shame, but I bet a fine specimen such as yourself enjoys other finer things."
Stop saying fine. None of this is fine. Hair! Hair is fine. At this point, I'm almost certain that my eye is twitching from anger, but I managed to hold it in. Ponybeard asks for my phone number, but I tell him it would be unprofessional for me to give it out. But he keeps asking, and my boss, ever the angel, swoops in to save me, telling Ponybeard that I have a lot of tasks to complete, and he's disrupting the class, politely asking for him to leave. At this point, Ponybeard does a complete 180, and I can only assume in his head that he was doing some sort of Naruto thing as he snaps at my boss.
"I'm just being nice to her. There's nothing wrong with what I'm doing."
I just explained what's wrong with what you're doing. You're disrupting the class. You look weird, you smell terrible, please leave. My boss politely asks him again, and he stands up off the table, practically drops Jeff, and grabs my hand again and tugs me up, yelling something about how
I didn't mind,
and that she was
just trying to keep me away from him,
or something like that. Oh, very perceptive. Yes, she is trying to keep you away from poor OP, who's just trying to do her job. Now keep in mind that I am very obviously underage, and this man was at least 18, the minimum age for picking up a child, but by my estimates, he was at least 20. I mean, the age thing, of course, it's egregious, but the interaction, even if he thought you were over 18, it's so not okay. You're being grabbed and manhandled, and even if it is just like your hand or your arm or something like that, don't do that to another person. Ponybeard is scum. My boss, who is a badass weightlifting marathon runner of a woman, rips his arm off of me before calmly telling me to go get the campus security guard. My school is in a rough part of town, and I sprint off to the office, the guard coming back to the class with me, and he forcibly ejects Ponybeard. Reed practically shoves him out of the classroom, all while poor Jeff is still there. That is kind of sad. Jeff probably still thinks his brother's super cool, but he got a glimpse of the truth today. My boss called Jeff's parents to tell them that Ponybeard is no longer allowed to pick Jeff up. I got the next few days off, and the guard is now doing rounds around campus more, but this definitely solidified my hatred for neckbeards even further than it already was. TLDR, crazy brony shows up at my work and gets forcibly ejected for hitting on me in front of his little brother. Catch a clue, man. Like this was ever going to happen. I guess it's okay to shoot your shot, but you did way more than that. Say less, take the L, walk away. What's wrong with you? Just neckbeard things, I do suppose. Let's go ahead and see about another one. My brother, the beard. Do you think it's gonna be a good beard brother or a bad beard brother? Sort of a coin flip at this point. Well, I've avoided posting anything about my brother for a while, but tonight, he went way too far. Oh, bad brother. OP, 16 years old, only female in the family besides my mother, can usually be found outdoors, longboarding, running, playing sports, you name it. Parasailing. Fee is my older brother, 24. He's a medic in the Marines and has done 2 tours in Afghanistan. He is a tough mother, obviously, and he takes no guff. Brain is my second oldest brother, 21. He's currently attending a highly competitive and respected college for nuclear engineering. Definitely my closest brother. There's also Screw Up, who is my neckbeard brother at age 20. He went to community college for a semester before deciding that
it wasn't for him.
now he mostly just sits in the basement and leeches off of our parents. Well, hey, 3 out of 4? That ain't too bad. Your parents seem to be doing something right. I guess Screw Up just has the beard gene inside of him, waiting to activate. There's also, of course, Ma and Da. I'm just gonna call him Mom and Dad. Dad is always working, so I rarely see him, but Mom is an overly sweet lady who can't say no. Uh-oh. Absent father, doting mother. Anybody else picking up a little bit of Elliot Rodger vibes? Check out the manifesto reading if you haven't yet. So, all right. This story takes place over the weekend, culminating in the events of this night. This weekend is significant because it's the first time in 2 years that our whole family could be together at once. And of course, old boy just has to screw it up. So on Friday, Brain, Fi, and myself all sat around a fire and caught up. We had to bribe Screw Up with food to get him away from his games. It was all just harmless small talk. Mostly about World of Warcraft. Saturday, we had a big eventful day of activities. Fi and I went out and started the day with a hike through the local park. Then we spent the rest of the morning having friendly competitions, culminating in a foot race back to our house. He would have beaten me handily, but he stayed back with me and let it come down to a sprint to the finish. Anyway, we both crashed down on our front yard and right into a heated debate between Screw Up and Brain. Long story short, Screw Up was trying to convince Brain that his education was useless because, quote,
you can learn anything you need from the internet. Universities are just a scam.
Yeah, we let that one go. We didn't have 5 hours to argue it out. I mean, he is right. The internet is full of useful information. But the degree is generally how you prove to somebody else that you're certified, even before doing any sort of work for them. Not to mention, Screw Up probably doesn't use the internet for learning at all. He uses it for games and yanking his crank. So Saturday's dinner came with a big announcement. Fi was leaving the Marines and going to college. Hey, up top. Yay! Needless to say, once we all finished congratulating him, Screw Up chimed in with some crap about
college being a useless scam,
and then looked directly at me for a little bit too long. Nah, bro, you dying on that hill all by yourself. College wasn't for me, but if other people decide that that would be helpful for their life and their goals, go for it. Although then again, I don't really expect Screw Up to understand anything about having goals or an actual life. We ended this evening with a nice family game of Cards Against Humanity. God, we need to do that again. All right, once this video goes up, once the premiere is over, I'm going to be in the VC playing Cards Against Humanity on Discord. Join me if you haven't quite yet, discord.gg/ReddX.
I'll see you there.
Well, Screw Up got real comfortable whenever I played a card that was at all sexual. He basically ended the game by pitching a fit over how
it wasn't appropriate for someone like me with virgin sensibilities.
I'm not a virgin. He is. I mean, he probably has this picture of you in his head. Definitely don't go down that road with him. That's not going to be a pleasant interaction. Sunday, which was today, well, Screw Up was finally displaying the entire beard today. At church, he sat next to me and whispered edgy things to me the entire time. At brunch, he interrupted my dad during the prayer by saying,
can we just eat? We already did this crap for an hour at church.
After brunch, he sat in his den until dinner, only gracing us with his presence when he wanted food. Can we just install like a food slot in the door? I don't actually want to see him all that often. How did they convince him to go to church? I thought he would be too atheist and euphoric for all of that. But I guess when you're living under Dad's roof, you gotta live by Dad's rules. And Dad, definitely a Chad. Provides for the family, takes them to church every Sunday. God bless them. Dinner was when things started to get a little bit more weird. He sat next to me, even though Brain usually does, and then he refused to move. He insisted that he get any piece of food that I wanted for me, and he even reached over and cut my steak for me. Yeah, this is getting weird. I think he's been watching some stepsister videos, no? He's waiting for you to get stuck in a dryer.
Oh man, I'm stuck. Hey, stepbro, I'm home. No.
Can we ventilate his skull real quick? There's no bringing this back. We got 3 good kids. Might as well cut our losses on the 4th one, you know? He would constantly brush his arms or fingers against me, and needless to say, I was uncomfortable. After dinner, we sat in the den, and he chose to share a love seat with me. My parents went to bed early, so it was just us kids. We talked for a bit, and I guess Screw Up took something that I said to mean something, because he suddenly said that he was going to bed, with a wink to me as I left. Oh no. Oh my god, no. When I went to bed an hour later, Screw Up was in my bed. Naked. In my bed. Oh god! Get the fuck out of my room! We should have shot him at dinner. We should have just taken him out back. We'd never have to experience this. Tell your parent, make sure he's ostracized from the entire family. This is not okay behavior. Oh, what a puke, dude. I screamed and ran back downstairs to Brain and Fi. After I told them what happened, Brain told me to go to his room until I calmed down, and Fi went after Screw Up. Brain went out to see what was going on, and apparently everyone was laying in to Screw Up. Especially after a quick look into his browser history, which showed loads of wincest and lolly prawns. Oh my god, dude. He seriously needs to be executed. This is what happens when you just allow him to not be a contributing member of society. I'm serious, bro. You ain't invited to Thanksgiving dinner no more. This is terrible. Apparently, Screw Up thought that me and him were gonna bang. Despite him being a fat basement dweller and also my brother. Anyway, during the fight, Screw Up accused Fi of wanting to sleep with me and then said, "I wish you had just died in Afghanistan." Oh my god. So now me, Brain, and Fi are all sitting in Brain's room while Screw Up gets yelled at by Mom and Dad. TLDR, my brother thinks wincest is real life. I don't even know how to process or start to unpack this. I hope that he was cast out is the least that I could say. I hope you never have to interact with him again. This is so not okay, but it is what happens from terminally online neckbeards a lot of the time. I'm horrified. I'm disgusted. I don't have the words. I need one more story just to get the taste out of my mouth. How about that? A neckbeard wouldn't let me leave a Japanese store. Yeah, you gotta buy him some Pocky first. You gotta pay the troll toll.
You gotta pay the troll toll if you want to get into that boy's hole.
I have quite a few neckbeard stories, as I am a nerdy, decent-looking girl, and, well, here's one of them. I sometimes visit a Japanese store in the capital of my country. The owner is Japanese and gets the products himself. He's a super sweet guy. It's small and it has a lot of anime stuff like figurines and posters, also a lot of Japanese sweets. I like going there because I love anime, I love the sweets, and the owner is pretty cool. It does seem like a nice place until a neckbeard walks in. I was visiting the capital, so I decided to go to that store again. The owner contacted me about a figurine that they had gotten that I had asked about prior. Once I got there, I went straight to the figurine, and that's when someone else entered the store. He looked quite normal, a skinny dude with long greasy hair. He smelled a little bit weird, but not awful. Definitely a smell that I could notice the entire time, though. Might be a neckbeard, Might just be a European dude. I'm sorry, Europe. That's when he noticed me and came up to me. Our dear beard said to me,
Hi, you like anime too?
and I answered, yeah, and that I was actually getting this expensive Raptalia figurine. He got a bit excited and started asking me about my favorite animes and such. I didn't think anything of it at first because he just seemed like he wanted a friend. I'm not even gonna bother with that, honestly. My friends list is full. My social calendar is booked. I'm so glad that I'm not into anime. People ask me that and I say firmly, proudly, honestly, no, not at all. It just serves to avoid a lot of confusion, you know? After talking a while about useless things, he started to compliment me by calling me
kawaii, innocent, sweetie, hot,
or
beautiful. Nani? Baka.
the one Japanese word he knows. I told him not to do that because I wasn't comfortable with it. He didn't care. That's when he asked me if I wanted to go on a date with him right at that moment. I kindly said, no thank you, and told him that I had to leave. I put the figurine back and tried to leave, but he kept blocking the door and trying to hug me while saying that
I couldn't just leave him,
and that
I should at least give him my Snapchat.
Ew, no. Learn to take no for an answer. Where's the store owner at this point? I understand Japanese folk tend to be non-confrontational, but this is your business at stake. You need to step in. Maybe he will. Let's just give him a minute. This neckbeard said that
he deserved my Snapchat and a hug because I'd been so nice to him and I was just leading him on.
I said no, and that I really had to go, but he didn't let me. He was clearly starting to get annoyed at me, and it did start to scare me a bit. Thank God for my Lord and Savior, the store owner. There he is! Here he comes!
Oh, am I late?
A little bit.
He ran the store alone, but he was getting something from the back while this was going on. He doesn't speak my native language and has poor English skills, but he started just yelling at the beard to go out and leave, quite angrily. The beard fought back for a moment, but finally left. I thanked the owner and ended up buying the figurine and some other stuff. I dropped well over 300 euros that day. Haha. The owner definitely deserved it, though. He definitely did. That's only the most MVP plays. And he should be justly rewarded. This wasn't as bad as some other stories, but I definitely think that it belongs here. I have a few other stories if anyone's interested. I only have one story on Tale of Neckbeards, but it's pretty deep and dark, so if you're gonna read it, be prepared to get angry. Thank you for reading. Well, you kind of tempted me in with that last one, OP, but we're just about out of time for today. I know people love the one-offs, and I am going to keep on running down the Neckbeard Stories top posts of all time, and I hope that you continue to enjoy them with me, friends. If you'd like beard stories of a different gender, we've got the Neckbeard Stories playlist on the end card for you. Always remember, friends, that you are loved, you are worthy, you definitely deserve it, and I shall see you in the next one. So until then, bye-bye. Go ahead and cut them open. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine.
Promise swears he